Don't forget to click that subscribe and bell icon to receive a notification each time I upload a new video. Hi everyone, it's Mike here. So today I'm going to attempt to have a go at the mid-month mini mission for the month of September. So for the month of September I chose these lines from a song by an American, I'll say, folk artist called Maggie Rogers. I just loved the wording. I thought it was appropriate kind of for like an autumn and fall season. So down through the leaves the sunlight came in shafts of gold. I have put a link to the actual song for this one on the Mission Inspiration Facebook group where you can find this graphic. So if you've never heard of Maggie Rogers or have never heard the song where this comes from, you can go onto the Facebook group. If you're not a member, you can just click on join and listen and have a go yourself if you want to, and join in the monthly fun along with us. So I've not created an art journal page in quite a while, 2 or 3 weeks, kind of lack of mojo and all that kind of stuff, but today I kind of had an idea of what I could do for this, so I'm going to have a go. But I've got a sneaking suspicion that I've done something a little bit similar to this in the past, so if I have done something similar in the past, I do apologise if you get that feeling of deja vu, but I don't think I have. So I've got my Mission Inspiration journal. This is where I keep all of my mission inspirations for this year anyway. And I've got a sheet of watercolour cardstock. This is 300 GSM or £140. It's textured on one side and smooth on the other. Depending on what mood I'm in, depends on what side I want to work on. Today I'm going to work on the smooth side. So I'll put my prompt to one side, and the first thing that I want to do today is to add a kind of grey base coat onto this. So for that I've got some Dina Wakley Media acrylic paint, and this is the Elephant, which is a grey colour obviously. So I'm just going to add some of that paint onto my kind of like heat resistant mat. I'm not going to gesso the page first. I'm just going to add a little bit of water just to loosen the paint up a little bit. And then I'm going to grab a paintbrush. There we go, that one will do. It's a gold line paintbrush. And I'm just going to mix some of that up. Now instead of going across the page, I'm going to go up and down and just create a little bit of a wash. And I'm going to leave in the vertical brush strokes, and you'll see why in a little while. So I'm going to add that paint in. I'm just going to go up and down, up and Z, down and Z. Okay, so while that's still wet, I want to just add in a little bit more darkness to that. So I'm going to grab some black, which I haven't got out because I forgot. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I'm actually going to use some black gesso, mainly because it was actually just sat there waiting for me to use. So I'm just going to grab just a tiny bit. And this is just to add in a little bit of variation in tone rather than just the one colour. And again, I'm just going to go up and down, leaving in them brush strokes because they're important, as you will find out in a little while. Just do a tiny little bit of dark. That's it. Just like that. So I can put the black away, I can get this dried off, and then we're ready to move on to the next step. Okay, so now that has dried, so as you can see I've got those lovely kind of brush strokes in the background. What I want to do next is just to add in a little bit of, let's just say, sparkle. So for that I've got this little pot of luscious pigment powder from Indigo Blue. Now this is called Magic Sparkle. Now these pigment powders are exactly what they say. They're powders with loads and loads of pigment in them. A bit like brushos, but these are slightly different because these have actually got lots of mica in them. So if I just put a wet brush into that, and I'm not sure whether or not you can, well, probably the camera's not going to pick that up, but if I mix that paint, or the pigment powders with a little bit of water, there's lots and lots of sparkle in there. I'm hoping that the camera's going to pick this up. So I'm going to give that a little bit of a coat over the top, and I'll just pick up those dry bits. And again, do exactly the same thing. Just use upwards and downwards strokes. And that's going to give the page, look at that shine, which is kind of what I want. And just pick up a little bit more. And then just mix a little bit of water in with it. So these sparkle powders, if you like, have got a little bit of binder and lots of, as the saying says, or as the label says, magic sparkle. So just add a little bit more. Teensy weensy bit of water. There we go. Just a little bit heavier in places and lighter in others. Okay. Put that brush in some water and then just close the lid of that luscious powder. So Drunken Disorderly Luscious Pigment Powder, and this one's called Magic Sparkle. Great stuff. Okay, so that has turned the grey now into a lovely kind of shimmery background, which is cool. So I need to get that dried off, and then once that's dry, I'll be back. Okay, so the shimmer is now dry. Look at that. How to turn an ordinary piece of cardboard into something just a teensy weensy bit better. So lovely kind of shine and sparkle on there. So that's lovely, it's dry. So I can place that down. I have a Tim Holtz stencil. This is the birch stencil. And I've just taped it down onto my mat there, just so that I've got a little bit of traction with it, if you like. And I'm just going to lay it down like so. I've also got some indigo blue gold paint. This is the Goldfinger metallic paint. I've given it a bit of a shake up, and that's just to put some of the paint in the lid, because the Tim Holtz blending sponges, if you like, fit just nicely inside. And you can load your sponge up and then just start to work your way using the stencil, and just bob up and down, pouncing, spouncing, whatever you want to call it, and laying that gold paint. So this stencil, the gaps in the stencil are the gaps between the trees. So where I've laid the stencil down, because I've put that silver shimmery kind of sparkle, because this is birch, silver birch, which is why I wanted to use that sparkle. So we'll have a kind of silvery kind of tree line, and then between the trees we'll have this golden light coming through. That's the theory, he says. Well, that was the hope anyway. So I'm just going to go up and down, up to the edge, and of course I will need to repeat this process a couple of times because I need to go across to this side of the page as well. So I'm just working my way across. Now, the reason I didn't want to use a brush for this was primarily because I didn't really want any kind of like brush marks in the gold. and doing this kind of pouncing motion just kind of evens it out a little bit, particularly if you go kind of lightly, and you can go back over areas. You can lift that stencil up, and that's the kind of effect you get. So I'm going to dry that off here, and once that little bit's dry, I'll be back. Okay, so I've now done all of that gold in the background, so you can see that lovely kind of silvery birch effect in the background, and then you've got that lovely gold which is kind of even further back in the background. So you've got that nice gold light coming through, but it's a bit too flat, it's a bit too uniform, a bit too, I don't know, what's the word I'm searching for? There's no kind of variation in the tone of the gold, or not a lot anyway. So I'm going to grab some Miss Moneypenny copper. Somebody's just walked through the front door, so Ian's just gone down to see them. So yeah, so I've got Miss Money copper that I'm going to just add a little bit over the top. So again, just going to give it a shake up. So I've got some of the paint to play with, just there, and I've got a fresh blending sponge that I'm going to go over the top. So I shall just go and deal with my guest, and then I will be right back. Okay, so our guest has now departed. So we've actually had a chance to sit and have a little bit of lunch as well, which was rather lovely. And Ian's also joined me here in my little studio. The noise you can hear in the background, the little clicking noises, is Ian on the computer. Say hello.
Hello!
There you go. So, where were we? Copper paint. Yes, indigo blue, Miss Moneypenny copper paint. I'm going to do exactly the same thing again. This time I'm just going to take a little bit of the paint. I'm going to work it into the sponge, and this time I'm just going to go over in the kind of dappled kind of light way, if you know what I mean. Yes, just kind of kiss it a little bit, just to add a little bit of variation. So if I just lift up that, now you can see that there's a little variation in the background colour, which is exactly what I want. But because I'm only putting a little bit on, I can just layer that back down again, and I can see where the stencil needs to go. Just match up the gold with that stencil a little bit. There we go. And then just try and stick it down a little bit, and then just grab a little bit more of that paint, and then just again just rub it gently so we get a little bit of that colour coming through, just as a tiny variation in the light. That looks a lot more, I won't say realistic because it's not really, but you know what I mean. But it just adds that nice bit of depth and tone to it, and then we can just add a little bit more, maybe just there, be a little bit darker, and then some more just down here at the bottom, I think. That just moved a little bit, but that's not too drastic. There we go. I'll lift that stencil up. There we go, and then I can peel off that little bit of masking tape. Now the reason I put the masking tape there was because there's a bit of a border here, one at the bottom, one at the side. It's a little bit more uniform, as it were. So there I've got gold, kind of dappled light shining through my birch tree, my silver birch trees, and look at that shine, isn't that lovely? Okay, so I'm going to have a little bit of a tidy up, a little bit of a clean, and once I've got all this dry, I'm ready for the next step, so I will be right back. Okay, so while that's drying, and I need to tackle the leaves section of the prompt, so I've got a sheet of old music paper, which I thought would be quite nice to use as a backdrop, and I've brought in some Distress Oxide spray. So I've got Fired Brick, which is a nice red colour, Spiced Marmalade, which is obviously orange, and we've got Fossilised Amber, which is, you know, kind of yellowish. So I've given them a little bit of a shake up already, so I'm going to go lightest to dark, and I'm just going to spritz over, make a bit of a mess with the Fossilised Amber, and then while that's still wet, I'm going to go in with the orange. Like so, and then finally with the red. I've already got it all over my hands, look. This is how messy they are. Already squeezed it all over my hands. Oh, anybody think I was OCD? Anyway, right, not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, there isn't.
So now that we've got the red on, I'm just going to bring that Fossilised Amber back just a tad, like so. Okay, happy with that. So I'm going to quickly dry that off. Hopefully it's not going to curl too much. And then once that's dry, I'm going to add some splatters with water, and then we'll see what happens from there. So I've just pointed something out to Ian that he didn't really get at first, but okay, so this is a sheet of really old music paper, and I've sprayed it with, theoretically, with water, dye and pigment. And it's gone onto the paper, I've dried it all off, but the weird thing about it is, it hasn't gone through to the other side. So there's obviously something on this paper, like a size or something like that, which is stopping the pigment from going through, which is really kind of weird. Anyway, so what I'm going to do next, now that I've got all of those, is obviously I've got my little spritzy bottle, my Tim Holtz spritz bottle. I'll just make sure I got the droplet side, and I'm now just going to, I think I've just locked it, there we go. I'll just squeeze it gently just to reactivate some of that pigment in certain areas. And that's how we get that oxidisation starting to work. Now, because I think it hasn't actually gone through to the other side, it's actually going to be sitting on the surface. So I'm hoping that that's going to allow some of that colour to stay on the surface as well. So let me see if that'll work. Give it a blast, see what happens with it, and then I'll be back once it's dry.
Very strange, isn't it?
It is very strange. Okay, so that's now pretty much dried. You can see where it's oxidised and created those lovely kind of white speckles in the background. Still hasn't affected the back though. I know, weird. So I'm going to fold the sheet over, and I've got my, upside down, my Tattered Leaves die, Sizzix Alterations, Tim Holtzy, as you can see. So we've got 3 nice leaves on there, so I'm going to lay that over. I'm hoping if I run that through my Big Shot now, I'm going to get some nice autumn coloured leaves. Oh, I haven't used the Big Shot, this is the new one, since I had to replace it not too long ago because the handle broke off my old one.
You've had it a long time though.
We have had it a very, very long time, you're right. Nearly 15 years, I think. So it was kind of due for a change. Try and get them in straight. do it. So that then should give us some rather beautiful autumnal. That one's stuck. Come on, there we go. Autumnal colours. Let's see if we can get a couple more out of that side. Do that underneath. Hopefully they're going to fit. Let's get a couple more out. Right. Let's see what we got. Did we manage to get some more? We did manage to get some more out. Excellent. Cool. Put the big shot to one side. Deal with that later. Oh, I wish they'd make a lightweight one. Right, so what have we got? We've got all these lovely, lovely leaves. And a half one. Never mind. Okay, so bring in my sheet, and then I need some glue. What have I done with my glue? Boom, 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 boom. There it is. So I've got some just white PVA. So what I want to do is just wrinkle them up a little bit, and then I'm just going to add a little bit of glue, and I'm just going to start to layer those just a little bit wrinkled, and I'll just vary which ones we've got just in a couple of places. Just like that, just to give it a little bit of 3D texture. Just drop a little bit on the back. So this is going to take me a little bit of time just to stick these little beauties down. So I shall pop it onto fast forward, play you some appropriate music.
Shall I sing?
No.
Okay.
And then I'll be back in a smidge. Shall I sing? Okay, so I've stuck all my leaves down now, so they're still not dry, so but I just wanted to add a couple, well, one or two little things just to it. I've got some white gesso here, and I want to just add some little white floaty kind of ethereal dust motes in the air, and to do that obviously we're going to do just a few white splatters. So I'm just going to mix up some of the white gesso with some water, and then just add in a few little splats, just to kind of lift it a little bit. Not a lot. That's going to be it. Now some of that paint will react with the oxide on the leaves anyway, so that's okay. But there we go. Just add that little bit of extra dimension into that background with that white gesso. So again, as with most art journal pages, it's 10% doing, 90% drying time. I'll grab my heat gun and I'll be back once this is dry. Okay, so everything, all those little white splatters are now completely dry, and you can see that sheen from the silver birch and the gold coming through from that background. Just look how shiny and lovely that looks. So while I was doing that, I couldn't help but think about the lyrics from a different song while I was creating this page. And I was thinking about the song from Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds.
Forever Autumn.
That's the one. Yeah, you see, even you thought of that. And I couldn't get over, there's one particular phrase in one of the verses, and it's, through autumn's golden gown we used to kick our way, which I used to think was absolutely beautiful. Just the picturing people walking down the street, kicking their way through piles of fallen golden coloured leaves, just always resonated with me, because that's what I love to do at that time of year, or this time of year. So instead of putting the entire phrase for that, for my quote for this page, I've just picked the autumn's golden gown to go with this art journal page, and I've just printed it off on a piece of sticker paper with a kind of golden browny kind of background with white writing. So I want to just add a little bit of darkness around the edges, so I'm just using the Tim Holtz Distress, but the archival, so this is the permanent one, and I'm just going to go around the edge, just add in a little bit of darkness just to frame the word block, just to make it pop just a little bit more. Not a lot, but just a little bit, all the way around, just to make it sing a little bit. It just adds a little bit of kind of depth and dimension, almost makes it look a little bit like it's, well, it's got a little bit of a shadow around it. And I just think it helps when you've got a page of similar colours. And seeing as this is a nice kind of warm and sumptuous kind of amber, glowing kind of colours in the background, it just works. Well, I think so anyway. So because I put that onto sticker paper, he says it should theoretically just peel off the back. There we go. Of course, it's left just a slither out one side.
Sod's law, that.
It is. And I'm going to stick it just so it's coming out from under, or between these parts of the leaves here. And I'll try and get it a little bit straight, or as straight as I can do it. There we go. And then just to finish off, what I'm going to do is, I've got a ruler, or a rule, and I've got, do you remember the Signo white opaque pens that you can get that write on absolutely anything? I've discovered that you can also get them in copper, and in gold, and in silver. And of course, I had to have. So there you go, there's the silver, there's the gold, and there's the copper. And because the white ones work so well, I'm hoping that the copper one will too. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a little bit of a border around the page, just a straight lined border, maybe just a couple of lines, just like a double rule. Just there. And then I'm going to do the same up this side. Again, just a double rule, just a fraction apart. and then at this side I'm actually going to cross them over. Just move that up a little bit, just to create a little bit of a frame around the page, and then just at this side I'll take it just a little way up, and that side too, and that's just going to help finish that side of the page off, just there and just there. And I think that's going to be it for me. In fact, I might just even sign the page in the copper pen too. So I'll just
full.
I know. So I'm going to sign it and date it. And because I'm late with this, well, not really late because it's not the middle of October yet, so this one is still current even though it's September's, I can put today's date on it. So today is the 7th of October 2019. There we go.
Soon be Christmas.
Don't mention the C word. This is the reason why I don't normally allow him in, because he makes horrible suggestions like that. So I'm going to grab my glue. I didn't print this off on sticker paper this time. I'm actually running out of it. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the back of my prompt for September. Flip it over, just flip that over so I can stick that down on the back so I know what the inspiration was for this art journal page, and then just using a pen I'm just going to write on the bottom September 2019, and that's it. That is my art journal page for September's mid-month mini mission, which was from the song, I think it's called the Colour Song, from Maggie Rogers, Down Through the Leaves the sunlight came in shafts of gold. And I think you'll agree that I've hopefully captured that essence particularly in the background. So I hope you enjoyed watching me put that art journal page together. If you did, please remember to give it a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. But also, I'll put a link to our Mission Inspiration Facebook group where you can see all these prompts. You can join in the fun. All you have to do is to pop along to our Facebook group and request to join. There's also a clickable link in the description area below. That's all from me for now, and from you.
Goodbye.
I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. Thank you.